everyone. Welcome to the Just Pick Something podcast where we discuss movies and TV shows. My name is Jakes and I'm here with my co-host Franco. This episode we're going to talk about movies that we'll catch up on from 2022. And I mean, we can talk about these movies that we did watch and we did catch up on, Bullet Train released in 2022. It was filmed and directed by David Lech from a screenplay by Zach Olkewicz. It's one of the names that I'm sorry I butchered again, but what can you do? I did my best. And produced by Anthony Fugua. It's based on the 2010 novel Maria Beetle, titled Bullet Train in the UK and the US edition, and it stars Brad Pitt as Ladybug, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Tangerine, Brian Tyree Henry as Lemon, Bad Bunny as Wolf, and like a ton of more people. And at the time of this episode, can be streamed on Netflix. Like usual, time codes are in the description. So, Franco, did you like this movie? What do you think of going into it?
So, going into it, I wanted to watch it in theaters. I had to wait till Netflix. So again, one of those movies that I wish I would have watched in theaters, just because it does seem like a theater. Like it would have been fun to watch it in theaters.
Yeah, dude, the visual cinematography of this movie is wonderful. It has a lot of really cool lighting compositions and staging, and a bunch of really cool things. This movie kind of took me by surprise. I saw a trailer for it in a theater, and I was like, oh, that looks fun. And I mean, that was about it.
Yeah, it looked like I talked to my wife, and she was like, it looks like a chaotic mess. And I was like, I can't say you're wrong, but it kind of intrigues me.
I mean, did you get the vibe from Suicide Squad 2016 initial trailer with the Bohemian Rhapsody? Because that's what I kind of got reminded of.
No, not that specifically, but it definitely didn't give me an accurate read on the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people didn't get like an accurate read because the people that I've seen like are detractors of this movie. I feel like we're expecting a very different one, and it definitely is more false to the walls than I think it was sold as.
Oh, yeah, no, there's way more action in this movie than I thought there was going to be, which is great. As part of the a reason I really liked this movie, there was a lot of really cool stunts and action choreography going on. I feel like the setting of it taking place in a bullet train really helped kind of make some unique and fun back and forth between the characters.
Yeah, I think this movie surprised me ultimately because, I really didn't know what to expect. And people were like, oh, it's not that good. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm not expecting it to be great. And then after watching it, I was like, no, actually, this was like, and story-wise, I think there's like one negative that I really have for the movie, like one glaring one. And then all the other ones are more like...
Oh, yeah. Was it advertising? Because I think I was really wondering, was like, man, they are advertising Bad Bunny a lot in this movie. I wonder if it's because he's, a really famous, notable face, and they were kind of trying to bring people in, and he turns out to not really be in the movie for that much time,
Oh no, it was casting. It was a casting choice in the movie that I'm not a big fan of. But Bad Bunny was fine for a little bit. I didn't pay attention to much of the advertising. I saw very little of it.
I mean, every time I saw this movie advertised, it was mostly scenes with Bad Bunny arriving into the train.
So I guess we'll go into spoilers pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're gonna go into spoilers because this movie is gonna be kind of hard to talk about without going into spoilers somewhat,
Yeah, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Especially I think the best parts and the worst parts are very much heavy spoilers.
Yeah, well, it has everything ties together, and that's kind of the fun of the movie, especially because it ties everything together, and Brad Pitt's character accidentally, because of his character, ends up being involved in everything.
Yeah.
Spoilers going forward from here on out.
I don't know. It's weird. The moment Michael Shannon is shown, I was like, why him?
Okay. I laughed because I also had a very similar reaction when he showed up on screen. I was like, is that Michael Shannon?
I love him as an actor, but he was not at all what I wanted or hoped for that role.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those things where I was like, no, this is not, I don't think this works.
Well,
and I think because his casting doesn't work for me, it doesn't help the third act very much. It's so focused on him that I'm like, no, I don't know if anyone could have made the third act better because there was a mystique to his character, but I don't think Michael Shannon lived up to To the image I built up in my head.
That's hilarious.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I 100% get it because, like I said, I was so blown away. It took me out of the movie for a second. I was like, "Holy shit, it's him!" What? I guess he's the White Death this entire time, and it's kind of like the same reveal as when he's like, "And you, Mr. Carver, I've been waiting for you this entire time," and he's like, Brad Pitt's character Ladybug is saying, "Wait, what?" And then you realize that he's not the one that's supposed to be there, and it's this other guy. And then he takes off his helmet, and it turns out to be Ryan Reynolds.
Which is hilarious.
It was hilarious, and I'm like, "Oh my god, is that Ryan Reynolds?" And it was, and it's too much of a like surprise, you know?
You know why they did that?
Is it because of his marketing gimmick that he usually does, where he just shows up and makes like a witty comment or like?
No, so the reason that he plays that Ryan Reynolds is that character is because Ryan Reynolds had Brad Pitt play a
Right.
2-second cameo in Deadpool 2.
Yeah, because what was it? I don't know if this is actually true, but he came on for a cup of coffee.
Pretty much. And so
Yeah, he came on to his role on Deadpool 2 for a cup of coffee because he was there for like 30 minutes or something.
And so he was like, basically Ryan Reynolds owed him and the director. And so they're like he only gets like a 30-second cameo, nothing more. And then I think Ryan Reynolds convinced the director to then still screw over Brad Pitt by making his role like intrinsic to the plot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's pretty good.
He was like, "Oh, you thought I was going to be some throwaway 30-second cameo, but no, actually, I'm intrinsic to the entire plot of this movie." And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is great! Why is?"
Nice.
I was like, it's such a good like industry joke that I love it.
I mean, that's pretty great. I have heard of Brad Pitt doing cameo scenes like that for fun and enjoyment for himself. I think way back in like the early 2000s, he showed up in Jackass because he had fun and they did it for fun. But okay, so I guess now that you've told me that pretty reasonable of why you weren't a big fan of Michael Shannon as the White Death in his the third act, let's go back to the beginning of the film and talk about it leading up, because I think for one, tying it back into the casting decision, Brad Pitt was a pretty good choice because I don't know if I would have enjoyed this movie as much if it wasn't for him as the main lead. It brings this really fun, charismatic energy to the whole movie that made me kind of really enjoy this more than I might have going into it.
Yeah, I've talked about it recently with other movies where it's like there are some actors that they're really good because they just buy into the like crazy bullshit of the movie they're in.
Yeah.
Right?
And this movie had a lot of crazy bullshit in it.
Right? And it's like there are some people who buy into that and like lean into it hard where it's like, yeah, like you would not like, okay, Brad Pitt. What do you think of when you think of Brad Pitt? And it's like, I don't think I think of Bullet Train, but the fact that he's willing and able to do Bullet Train just speaks to his level of ability, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, there are other characters, there are other people that would be in similar movies in a sense, but it's like, it's their bread and butter. Like, so like The Rock, he does the same thing every time where it's like, you could tell he's not a good actor because he can't make those kind of decisions like Brad Pitt can. Where he's like, the movies that I pick can be like so drastically different. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, I understand. Because I also have a problem where I haven't seen The Rock really be someone that isn't The Rock, which, is a shame. But at the same time, I do see other actors who I initially thought were going to be like The Rock try to be other people and like really make me feel like I'm immersed and see them as someone else and not just them.
Yeah.
Like Dave Bautista is one of those actors for me where I initially thought as he was entering the like film industry, he was going to be The Rock type. But the things I've seen him in, I kind of forget he's Dave Bautista after a while and really just kind of get into liking the characters or appreciating his performances in the movies he's in.
I don't know where it was exactly that he talked about it, but Ryan Johnson said like that Bautista is like the best wrestler turned actor, and I don't disagree. I think he's right.
Yeah, no. Of the few actors that I know were wrestlers, he's really good, and it makes sense because of wrestling has a lot of acting in it.
Yeah.
So there is some natural like continuation of that craft and skill. But I'm really happy to see so far Batista's filmography. Yeah.
Yeah.
Filmography. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Dave Bautista and John Cena, I think, are the two where you could tell that John Cena doesn't have as many chances, and he does tend to go for like goofier roles. But
Yeah.
you could tell that I feel like those two are the ones that you're like, if I see them in a movie, I expect them to actually like do the work.
Yeah, no. Considering the fact that like most wrestlers or just I guess film stars in general usually go through a period of just working and being in things, whether they're sometimes good, sometimes bad. I mean, The Rock did a bunch of movies before he got like super big. You know, I remember watching him in The Tooth Fairy in like the middle of the 2000s, which was a super low budget, family friendly movie.
Yeah, he played The Rock playing the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like yeah. So you could point to that movie, say, "Hey, go watch that," and then watch Black Adam and be like, "Did he really change that much acting wise in the last like 20 years?" And it's like, not really.
I mean,
But anyway,
yeah.
so
Part of the reason I feel Bullet Train has so much you could talk about specifically of the acting and the characters is because the plot isn't super complicated, if in my opinion. I don't know if you feel that way.
no, I think when everything's laid out and they go through it very well.
Mhm.
I think the first act is a little hectic. You do have to jump around to a bunch of different
Well,
like setups for characters.
yeah, they introduced the characters and the assassins that are on this train because going as a recap slightly, there are a bunch of assassins on the bullet train in Japan. Brad Pitt's character, Ladybug, gets assigned job for another assassin who got stomach troubles and couldn't make it. He's there just to pick up a briefcase and then deliver it to a destination. And as he's on this bullet train, he keeps having more and more trouble getting off of it because he encounters more and more assassins and becomes integral to this convoluted plot set up by Michael Shannon's character, the White Death. And crazy shit happens to his character because one of his core defining aspects is that he has, so to speak, bad luck.
Yeah, so it reads really crazy as you're going through it, where it's like, why in the world is all this happening? It doesn't make any sense. But then as soon as it gets further and further into it, the more and more it clears up.
Mhm.
The connections between characters, like, why certain things are happening, why certain people, like, why Bad Bunny's character is there is like
Yeah.
entirely separate from the rest of the plot,
Mhm.
but at the same time entirely connected. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh my gosh, like why? Like, I want to say Bad Bunny is a perfect example of like one of the messier parts of the movie where it's like, I want to say he was entirely like tangential. Like there's like the main group of assassins that are like intrinsically tied to Michael Shannon's White Death,
Mhm.
and then there's Bad Bunny who just happened to be in the crossfire of a bunch of shit.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I feel so sorry for you, man. Like your character is really tragic.
Yeah, because I really liked his character, the Wolf, when he got introduced because since there are so many characters and assassins in this movie, right? Famous actors, assassins, characters, etc., they did a really good job, and I think it was a good choice to have that really stylistic intro sequence along with a flashback to again give you an idea of who these characters are and make those flashback sequences kind of funny, regardless of who it was.
Yeah.
I always kind of laughed at each flashback sequence they showed, especially when we'll get into it. I guess Tangerine and Lemon, those two are like had a great chemistry for me, and I really liked their characters in this movie. But yeah, Bad Bunny, his character, the Wolf, I was kind of sad to see him go so quickly. He was there and then he wasn't.
Yeah, but it's just there's a lot of what seems like craziness, and I think that's what some people get lost with is just the plot of it all. I feel like you said, it's actually relatively simple if you just follow it.
Yeah.
Just let the movie take you on the journey it's planning on taking you. It does a good job of tying up every loose end. And it's like, this is actually really engaging, and the storytelling is way, a lot of people didn't get enough as much credit as it deserves.
No, okay, I definitely feel like I was one of those people who, after seeing the initial trailer, was going to watch it on streaming most likely because I had kind of written it off and being like, oh yeah, it looks all right. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not crazy eager to go watch it in theaters, but I would if someone was like, hey, do you want to go watch Bullet Train in theater or something like that. But it was just kind of like, oh, I guess it's one of those movies that has like star power to try to get people to come watch it, like Brad Pitt and Bad Bunny. And I am really happy I actually gave this movie a shot because I loved it. It was so much fun.
Yeah. So speaking of things we loved, I want to move on to my favorite. I don't know if this is your favorite character.
Okay.
I think it's hard to argue that it is anybody who wouldn't be everybody's favorite character. It's Tangerine. Or is it Lemon? Is it Lemon? I can't remember.
Okay, Tangerine is Brian Tyree Henry. He was in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's Tangerine. Then he's my favorite character.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's pretty great. I really like this character. I think of the main core of main characters because like there's a lot of main characters who each have an integral role to the plot. But there's also my brain like secondary main characters like the Elder, if that makes sense, who I also really enjoyed, especially his moment talking to Brad Pitt's character Ladybug at the very end, where after he got like bit by snakes and shots and all these things, he's like, I have a story to tell you, and Brad Pitt's like, no, I'm good. He's like, no, it's pretty good story. He's like, nah, I'm fine. I'm okay. And then he just starts telling him the story anyways. That was great.
So speaking on him real quick, I'm a big fan. I'm actually a big fan of the actor who played him, his young version.
Oh, his nephew, right?
His name is Yoshi Sparso.
Are you thinking about Kimura or the Elder's younger actor in his flashback sequence?
Yeah, the younger actor.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
His name is Yoshi Sudarso.
Mm-hmm.
Sudarsu. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, unfortunately. He's the blue Power Ranger on Power Rangers Dino Charge.
What? Really? That's sweet.
So I was like, I didn't know he was in the movie. Then I saw someone tweet about it, and he had tweeted back about it. And I was like, wait, you're in this movie? I'm totally going to watch this because I am, of course, a Power Rangers nerd, despite the fact that I have... it's like one of those things where your mind disassociates certain quality things, where it's like, hey, Anthony, what are your favorite movies? And it's like, here are a bunch of movies. And it's like, all right, do you like Power Rangers? Of course. Fuck yeah. Flying robots, spandex? Fuck yeah.
Oh, dude, I loved Power Ranger when I was younger, but I never kept up with the fandom or the Power Rangers properties going forward. I think the last thing that I probably watched that I have clear memories of was the 2000 movie, with Ivan Ooze.
Oh yeah, that's old. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't think that's 2000. I think it's like 1995.
No way. It was definitely the 2000s.
Nope, it's like 1995.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna look this thing up because I need to make sure. I mean, you're probably right, but still.
You're talking about that was like the original cast. They were not around that long.
Let's see. Oh, dude, you are totally right. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie came out in 1995.
The year I was born.
See, I probably watched it on VHS then, because I definitely remember seeing it in the 2000s. I would not have been able to remember this movie when I was 2.
I mean, I grew up watching that and the Turbo movie and all those. I mean, I grew up on Power Rangers. So
dude, I loved it. I had my favorite were the Power Rangers toys, like building the mechs and stuff. They were great.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so the actor, I love him. So I like Tangerine to the point where his whole gimmick in the movie is that he relates to people to fucking Thomas the Tank Engine character.
Dude, that was... I kind of thought that was pretty silly and kind of dumb at first, but I really got into it and was like, oh no, I'm here. That dude's a fucking diesel and you know it. And I'm on his side. I agree with Tangerine. Kill this guy. And then it turned out to not be him.
Oh man. Wait, who do you think was the diesel?
I just thought it was this whole like surprise twist is going to be, Brad Pitt's character being like, actually was there for a different reason, or Kimura surprisingly being alive and then being like, oh yeah, I knew exactly. It didn't make a lot of sense. I was just hyped for, him accusing people of being the diesel. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, I was like, as soon as he brought up that concept, I knew it was the girl. And I was like, she's a fucking diesel. Oh my god. When people started getting tricked by her, like, no, don't get tricked by her. She's a fucking diesel.
Yeah, you mean what was her name? Prince, I think was her the daughter, maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Lerman's sister. Logan Lerman's in this movie for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to die in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, so was Zazie Beetz. She was in this movie, and I think she's a great actress. And I was really hoping to see who was going to end up being underneath that mascot costume. And then when it turned out to be her, I was like,
Yeah,
she's in this movie too. I was surprised. It was great,
she died.
and she died.
But yeah, so the Diesel thing was so great to the point where after I had watched the movie, when I was doing stuff at work and like a customer, when we knew a customer was gonna kill our day entirely, or like they were gonna like take way too long, they're gonna be like really picky or whatever. We were working just like, oh my gosh, this is the fucking Diesel of the day. Like, oh, that's how great it was in the movie for me. And my coworker had also watched it, so we were just like, yes, 100%. This is the Diesel.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh! But we mentioned someone else that I was.
Is it his brother Lemon, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Yeah, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. Man, I feel like it's such a shame that he was killed as Quicksilver so quickly. He's such a good actor.
Oh, he's a great actor, and man, I've been up and down about Quicksilver dying in the Marvel movies over the last like years since that's happened. I think at first I was like into it because I was like, man, look at that, they actually committed to killing Quicksilver, even though he's a great actor. And then after a while, I'm like, nah, maybe you should have kept him alive. It would have been really cool. And I guess now I'm just like, yeah, it's been so long since he's been in a movie. He can probably come back or a TV show at this point because death seems kind of impermanent. So maybe, who knows? Maybe he'll show up again.
He was great. I like the cast in this movie a lot. Another one of my favorite actors in the movie, favorite character in the movie.
Oh, can I guess? All right. Was it the water bottle?
The fact that they gave that thing a freaking flashback in POV was great.
Yeah,
I did not expect it in the slightest.
Me either, and it was a great surprise. I love the water bottle's key role in the plot of this movie.
Did you have you watched the movie Bad Times at the El Royale?
I have not.
It has a non-sequential like flashbacks, flash forward type stuff that happens, and it ends in the third act of that movie as well. There's a flashback that just hits you, and it's so funny when they actually do it. It's not a funny flashback, but it was one of those things where the movie has set up all these stakes, and then you're interested, like a character becomes important, and then as soon as you're about to like hit that like high note of like tension, it's like, and now flashback, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So like the water bottle did the same thing for me, but it was also funny.
Yeah, I mean, because this movie, it's the whole plot that keeps ongoing is Brad Pitt's character Ladybug keeps trying to get off the train with this suitcase full of money that turns out to be the ransom, that turns out to be a red herring set up by the White Death, and all these things that keep them on the train, right? And then as I think the humor helps me really enjoy this movie, like every single like act has like a lot of things that are just so hilarious, and then you get that really funny flashback with the water bottle, and it really kind of made this movie for me, where it was like, man, this is gonna keep going. And I think if it didn't have this much humor in this movie, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much.
Yeah, I think that definitely like kept it. I know people would say it wouldn't be unique because a lot of movies are funny, but I think it like just separated it from like the John Wicks and like other big action movies of the current day, where it's like this does feel uniquely positioned vibe wise.
Yeah, because it wasn't like a humor that I've seen like frequently. It wasn't the humor that I would see in like Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
It wasn't the humor that I would see in like Marvel movies, where it was like self-referential or something. And it was just this really enjoyable, just kind of callback kind of humor. Clever. Yeah. Clever. Even going into it before I think I'm ready to talk about the final part of this movie, the last act.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before we get to the last act, my actual favorite other character is, of course, Channing Tatum, who's just randomly in the fucking movie as a random passenger.
Oh yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about that. He thought Ladybug was asking if he wanted to do some stuff in the train car with him.
It's like sex stuff? Like what? I was like, yo, this is cool.
I mean, I'm not saying no, but
he's like, oh man, he does look good. And I'm like, wow, he's like committing to the bit. Also, a random, just little cameo. Not even really a cameo. I guess he's just an actor who plays a bit role. The guy who plays Hero from Heroes, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's the conductor, right?
He's like the conductor or the ticket guy. I don't know.
See, I thought he was gonna be something too, to be
Yeah, he
honest.
just seemed like he was there for a very specific reason,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a very specific actor.
Uh-huh.
So it was like the fact that they didn't use him for anything else was like, man, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with Channing Tatum. Because at some point in this movie, I was like, okay, everyone on this train is an assassin. Like everyone's here's got to be doing something, you know. And it turned out to be,
It's like, no,
it turned out to be quite a lot of them, but it wasn't Hero or Channing Tatum or anything. So
it's just a shame. Oh well.
yeah. But I guess going into it, after a certain point, most of everyone who isn't an assassin is off the train. Everyone who isn't dead is on the train, and they're like, okay, once we get to Kyoto, the White Death, who has been, behind this the entire time, is going to kill us. And they come up with a plan to like make sure that doesn't happen. And then it still doesn't go anywhere where I thought it was gonna go, you know?
Oh yeah, the fact that they're, oh man, like I don't remember exactly what their plan was. But nobody's plan goes the way that they thought it was, except for I guess the prince. The prince is the only one whose actual plan worked at the end of the day.
And they kind of chickened out with it too, because we get that reveal that it's her father, which I guess it wasn't super surprising, but I didn't see that coming either.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's chickening out, but
Really, because she didn't like end up killing. Because okay, her entire thing was she's gonna kill the White Death. She's gonna kill the White Death. And maybe chickening out is too harsh, but understandably, I guess she didn't want to kill her own father at the end of the day.
no, she did want to kill him, and her plan was that he was going to try to shoot her with the gun, and then he did.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're totally right about that.
He didn't follow her plan until the end of the movie, where she did end up getting him to get killed by her actual gun. She was like, "Yes, I did it," and then she gets hit by the fucking truck.
Oh yeah, they did that classic wide shot where she's in the slight right of the composition, and you're like, oh, something is definitely going to come from the side and hit her,
Thank God. And then it was a freaking tangerine in a lemon truck. Yeah.
No, I think it was tangerines in the tangerine truck.
It was a lemon truck.
No way.
Yeah, because the whole point was that he jumped out of so all the nonsense that happened, he falls out of the train.
Yeah.
And he comes out and it's a lemon truck because his brother was named Lemon.
Okay.
And then he uses the lemon truck to kill.
No. See, that's where you mixed it up.
Wait, no. Oh no, it's Lemon.
Yeah.
And he has a tangerine truck.
We both got twisted around with that. Yeah, Lemon shows up with the tangerine truck because of his brother, and then it just runs the daughter over at the end, which was a great end a moment movie.
I will say this: another thing that I didn't like about this movie was kind of like the fake out deaths that happened.
Oh.
I didn't like that Lemon had a fake out death. I also didn't like the fake out death of the son of the elder.
What was it? The son was the one in the hospital room, right? Or
no, the dad, the dad of the son.
Oh, right. Because it is, if anyone's like me who's listening to this and is trying to keep track of all the characters, it's the elder and then the son whose name is Kimura, and then he has a son who's in the hospital room that jumped off a building. That was one of the initial things that set the course of this movie. And I think the child in the bed in the hospital room is just named the son.
Yeah, I think he's not even referred to as a character. It's the son is the one that we follow, and then the elder is his dad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when he got killed and then put in the bathroom, I thought he was dead, and they're like, he's not dead, and I'm like, what? What do you mean he's not dead? And then
I thought he was dead. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I 100% thought he was dead. And then with Lemon, I thought he was dead. And then they're like, no, it was just a sleeping drug. And I'm like, oh my God, of course it's a sleeping drug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bulletproof vest surprise too.
Yeah, that was the only thing. I didn't, but it did. It makes Tangerine's death like fair because he was like, oh, you made Lemon bleed. And no one ever makes Lemon bleed. And it was like this whole entire like thing about like him and his brother when they were young, how they grew up with each other and stuff. And I was just like,
I mean, for one of the two people that I felt the more connection with, it was more impactful to see that Tangerine didn't end up making it in the end,
Yeah, that did suck. I liked them. I liked the twins a lot.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, the fake out death I didn't particularly enjoy, but the fact that Brad Pitt is this like again this weird unlucky character that just goes through all this bullshit. He's like, I'm not even the main character here.
Yeah, no.
Like a side character in this plot.
It was great, man. Especially because another thing I liked about him is that in the course of the movie, he kept talking about his therapy and his therapist sessions, and it was really fun to see him be like, "Hey, I'm working on this problem I have, and I have some things you might want to read." And everyone was just kind of like, shut up, Brad Pitt."
Yeah, and the fact that like he's so consistent about it, where like his pacifism and stuff, where it totally doesn't work in his line of field, and yet somehow he still makes it out.
Yeah,
but also still causes so much like numerous deaths.
Oh, and destruction.
Yeah.
The third part after the conversation with the White Death, and they get everyone on the train, and they do all the crazy shit, and the plan goes, awry. Is the train just keeps going and like breaks through a barrier and destroys like a section of a town, and Brad Pitt character just goes flying and sent through the train, and because of his character luck just manages to not get like decapitated or like maimed.
Oh my god. He like, saved with the freaking mascot costume.
Yep. And then at the end, oh my god, it's so funny when he walks out of the train, everything is done, the characters who are still alive walk out injured, and there's kind of this like sigh of like, okay, we're done, we're out. And then the White Death still shows up, and Brad Pitt's character's like, "Oh, come on, man!" Yeah, no, it was great.
Oh yeah, and then the final cameo of the whole entire movie, you find out that his handler is what's her name?
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I thought that was just hilarious. It also was funny because Sandra Bullock and Brad Pitt and Channing Tatum were in The Lost City earlier in the same year.
That is true. I do remember seeing a trailer for that movie.
And Brad Pitt's role in that movie is also like 3 minutes long.
Oh wow! Oh really?
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, do you guys just like showing up to people's? It's one of those like Adam Sandler situations where it's like, oh, you're filming something? All right, I'll be there. Like, we'll just hang out one afternoon.
Yeah, that's cool. That's fair. I mean, so if it's a fun one-off cameo, it could be really enjoyable. And this Sandra Bullock just showing up at the end of this movie was a pretty good example of that too.
Yeah, so I think this movie was very fun. I think people should give it a watch. I'm pretty sure if anybody's listening, they obviously have watched it.
Yeah.
But the people who the spoilers.
I mean, hey, there's some pretty good Japanese covers of some songs in this movie as well. If that's something to get you to watch this, other than all the cameos and like actual fun, unique feeling.
Yeah, like I mean, if people listening to the spoilers obviously heard it, but if anybody like skipped the spoilers, it's like, oh, I guess I'll listen to their final thoughts about the movie before. And like I was gonna give final thoughts on. Well,
oh yeah, give me your final thoughts, man. I'm here.
Yeah, just to wrap it up for the people who skipped the spoilers. I think overall this movie's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people aren't gonna expect what it's willing to give them, and I think people should give it a shot just because you don't get a lot of action movies like it, and we get to see like a director who's currently having a lot of fun with a lot of different actors, and it's just a very enjoyable, engaging story. You just have to give it give it like 30 minutes, and it will like find its footing real well, and you'll just enjoy the ride.
No, I agree with that sentiment. I would say the only thing to add to it would be, go into this movie just expecting a fun time, pay attention during the first act, and you'll probably enjoy the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Turn off your phones, enjoy your movie.
Yeah, I mean, hey, sometimes I'm guilty of drawing on my iPad during a movie or a TV show, and then I'll realize that I'm like, oh, I should probably be paying attention.
Exactly.
And then I'll put it away. Well, okay. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Just Pick Something podcast. If you haven't seen Bullet Train, go watch it. If you listen to us for 5 minutes, that's cool. If you want to send us your opinions, you can send it to an email. We will check it and answer any questions we get. But we have been pretty sporadic lately. But if you still want to send it, just comment. Send us an email at jpspmailbag@gmail.com. It takes us a while to respond.
Like, share, subscribe.
Like this video, share it, talk about it with your friends. What else do people do? Comment on it.
Click the little bell for notifications.
But yeah, thank you for watching. And the intro and outro song of this episode is VHS Dreams by Sean Ivers. Link in the description. Thanks for listening, and until next time.